said, children, go where I send thee. Build me a nation, where my people can worship me freely in spirit and in truth. People from all over the world heard that voice and came to these shores and started building this great nation. And God shed his grace on this nation, and it began to prosper and grow. And there was a great war that had to be fought because there was tyranny that wanted to take that prosperity for itself. And there were a group of founders who got together and said, let us declare our independence. And with that independence, they went even further. They made a declaration of the statement of mankind, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator. They acknowledge God with certain inalienable or God-given rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They only listed 3 inalienable rights. The others are found in our Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. They went on to say that government is instituted to secure these inalienable rights, deriving their powers by the consent of the governed. That was phenomenal. For the first time in history, we find that they want to put the people on top and government on the bottom. That had never been done before. Those founding fathers studied historical documents and historical governments. None of them fit what was going to take place for this nation, the freedom that was so desired. And that freedom came at a price. A war had to be fought. And the war was fought. And at the end, after that war, we then had a constitution, the longest surviving national constitution in the history of the world. Since that constitution has been founded, other nations have had several constitutions. There's only one constitution that has survived longer than the U.S. Constitution. Does anyone know what it is? The state of Massachusetts. The only one, but they're not using it anymore. But the only constitution that is longer in existence than the U.S. Constitution. And a constitution that is so important and whose preamble that you will recognize. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I don't believe that was a God-breathed document like our Bible, but it was God-inspired. And the reason why I say that, it has been documented that a third of that Constitution can be directly traced back to quotes out of the Bible. A lot of people don't know that. This is a Christian nation.
Yes.
It was founded on Christianity. And that's why God shed his grace on this great nation. 250 years ago, David Hume so succinctly espoused what the laws of nature and nature's God means. And it's the right of possession, transference by consent, and performance of promises. Now, what makes that so foundational is, again, it goes back to our biblical foundation. Right of possession, thou shalt not steal. Transference by consent, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's possessions. And performance of promises, thou shalt not bear false witness. So the founders knew what they were doing when they put this nation together, when they founded it. And what is so foundational is that we have here a champion of the rights of the individual. Again, that was unique in the world. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, equal treatment under the law, and that constitution that limits the power of the government. Unique in the world. Alexander de Tocqueville wanted to know what is happening across that ocean, that this nation so young has become so powerful and so great. And he came to the United States and he toured and he came to this conclusion, that America is a great nation because its people are good. They had a moral foundation upon which they built everything. And he said that when America stops being good, it will stop being great. And I'm telling you all right now, patriots, we are on the verge of America no longer being good. We must step up collectively and individually and claim this nation back. Don't be ashamed to call it a Christian nation, because it is. I don't care what Obama said on some foreign shore. This is a Christian nation. It was founded on Christianity. As Lance had mentioned, one of the bills that I filed is the Soldiers and Heroes Monuments and Memorials Protection Act. And what that bill does is it lists 18 different conflicts that this nation has been involved in. Because our freedom that we have for this nation is not free. It has come at a great price. Men and women have fought since its foundation, before its foundation, have fought to secure that freedom and actually are fighting today. And so I wanted to honor all veterans for all conflicts we've been involved in. My bill starts off with the Spanish-American War that was fought from 1565 to 1580. And thanks to my good friend Derek Hankerson, we've also included the Battle of Fort Mose that was fought in 1740. And it was the British Army's first defeat on American soil. Note that that was before the Revolutionary War. I like to think of myself as a historian, and particularly of a military historian, but I had no idea of that battle until Derek informed me of it. And earlier today I was able to tour Fort Mose and the museum that they have there, and was just awed by what I saw there and learned of those people that were made up of Spanish, Native Americans, Cubans, Black Americans, who fought for their freedom and were successful. No one will fight harder than that man or woman who was fighting for their freedom. Amen. And they fought and defeated those British. So those are the first two conflicts, the Spanish-American War and then the Battle of Fort Mose, and we go on to list 16 other conflicts that we have been involved in, including, of course, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World Wars I, World War II, the War of 1812, the Bay of Pigs invasion, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, I know I'm saying them out of order, the Vietnam War, up to the conflicts that we are currently involved in. All of those are listed. And my bill says that any monument or memorial, any cenotaph that has been erected in honor of these proud veterans, the valor that they fought for this nation, that it cannot be removed from its position. If it is moved from a location, it must be moved to a place of equal prominence in that jurisdiction. It cannot be disgraced, it cannot be desecrated, or it is a third-degree felony. This includes all veterans for all wars. It also includes first responders. Any cenotaph named after or in place in their honor receives the same protection, and also for astronauts. Now, the left is trying to portray this as a controversial bill. And I had the honor of being on Fox and Friends, and I told them it's only controversial because the left doesn't like it. Whenever there's something that the right likes, they don't call that controversial. But it's only it was something that the left doesn't like, it becomes controversial. And I had to make it plain to them, the word Confederate does not appear anywhere in the bill, because they were trying to say that this bill is simply to protect Confederate monuments. It does that, but that was not the sole purpose of it. It was for all veterans, for all conflicts, is what it does. And even if the word Confederate did appear in the bill, so what? The word Confederate simply means together. And aren't we one nation under God?
Yes.
Amen.
We are to be together.
Amen, bro. Preach it.
I was once on Joe Scarborough show, Morning Joe. This was back in 2013, before he went.